Hello students, welcome to your video class. This class is for 6th semester electrical engineering diploma students. Today we will discuss about your tidal energy or tidal power. After completion of this class, you will be able to describe or you will be able to understand what are the tides and how we are using the tidal powers, wave powers to generate electricity or other purpose of use. Let us start. In this session, we will discuss about what is tidal energy, what is its history, how does it work, what are the applications of tidal energy, advantages, disadvantages, and what are the uses of the tidal energy and its environmental effects. And finally, we will conclude the session. Let us start first. What is tidal energy or what is tide? First, we will discuss about what is tide. Tides are the rise and fall of sea level caused by the combined effect of the gravitational force exerted by the moon and the sun and the rotation of earth. We can say in general language, tide is the gravitational force of the sun and moon combined with the rotation of the earth result in an alternate rise and fall of the sea level. At one place, it usually occurs twice on a lunar day. Or we can say tides at the waves caused due to the gravitational pull of the moon and also the sun. The rise is called high tide and the fall is called low tide. The building up and receding of waves happens twice a day and causes enormous movement of water. Ocean tides are the periodic rise and fall of ocean water level occurs twice in each lunar day. During one lunar day, the ocean water level rise twice and fall twice. This diagram shows the position of moon during the month, and with respect to the position of the moon, tide occurs. Next we will go to the this figure. So this figure shows the alignment of this figure shows the alignment of the sun and the moon on the tides. This is the spring tide and this is the nip tide. Here this is the sun, number 2 is moon, number 3 is earth. This is the position of sun, moon and earth during the lunar tide and solar tide. And this is the new moon and this is the full moon. When this position occurs, this sun, moon and earth lies in this manner, then we will get spring tide. When in case of nip tide, This is Sun, Earth. This is the position of Moon. First quarter Moon, and this is the third quarter Moon. When in this type of position, Earth, Sun, and your Moon lies, then the condition of neap tide occurs. Then we'll go for the next part. In this part, we'll define neap tide and spring tide. Tidal power utilizes the twice daily variation in sea level caused primarily by the gravitational effect of the moon and to a lesser extent the sun and the world's ocean. The earth's rotation is also a factor in the production of tides. The interaction of the moon and the earth results in the building sorry, ocean lugging out towards the moon, lunar tide. That is called lunar tide. The sun's gravitational field pulls as well as solar tide. This is known as the sun and the moon are not fixed position in the celestial sphere but change position with respect to each other. Their influence on the tidal range is also affected. If the moon and the sun are in the same plane as the earth, the tidal range is the superposition of three range due to the lunar and solar tides. This results in maximum tidal range that is called spring tide. If they are at right angle to each other, lower tide difference are experienced resulting in neap tide. Neap tide is otherwise known as low tide and spring tide is otherwise known as high tide. Here we discuss that if the moon and the sun are in the same plane as the earth, going to the previous picture, moon, sun and earth. Here this is moon, sun, earth lies in one plane. Then spring tide occurs when sun, moon and earth lies in a perpendicular 90-degree right angle triangle. Then neap tide occurs. Then what is tidal energy? Tidal energy is the utilization of the variation in sea level caused primarily by the gravitational effect of the moon combined with the rotation of the earth. This is called your tidal energy. It is otherwise known as hydropower, which converts the energy of tides into the useful form of the power, mainly electricity. Then the time interval between a consecutive low tide and high tide is 6.207 hours. Tidal range is the difference between the two consecutive high tide and low tide. During the high tide, the water flow into the dam, and during the low tide, water flow out, which result in moving the turbine. Although not yet widely used, tidal powers has potential for future electricity generation. Tides are more predictable than wind energy and solar powers. Next, we'll go for the tidal electricity generation. How the generation occurs. When this diagram shows the turbine and the electricity generation system. And in this system, when the tide is coming in, this turbine and generator position is shown here, and when the tide is going out, this is the position of the turbine generator and estuary. The turbine is driven by the power of the sea in both directions. The tidal electricity generation works as the tides come in and again with its go out. Then, how does the tidal energy work? Tidal turbines. It will follow two methods. First one is tidal turbine. Tidal turbines use similar technology to wind turbines. although their blades are much shorter and stronger. So a good way to think of them is underwater windmills. Then tidal barrage. Tidal barrage are nothing but it is similar to dams in hydroelectric power plants, except they are much larger and they are built across an estuary or bay. Then tidal lagoons. Tidal lagoons are similar to barrages but have no much lower cost and impact on the environment. Then tidal energy is derived from the motion of the earth moon system due to due to the rotation of the earth. The blocks of the tide are always ahead of the position on earth, right under the moon. The gravitational force between this portion of the water and the moon generates a torque that declares the rotation of the earth. On the other hand, this force helps to accelerate the orbital movement of the moon around the earth. As a consequence, without other interference, the rotational period of the earth will finally be equal to the orbital period of the moon. The utilization of tidal energy, which will inevitably reduce tidal currents, takes an advantages of the angular dynamic energy of Earth in similar way. Now we'll discuss about generation of tidal energy, how we generate. In stream devices, we will the make use of kinetic energy of moving water to power turbines in a similar way as windmills use moving air. This method is gaining in popularity because it's removable, it can be scaled up gradually. Next, coming to the barrage system. Barrages make use of potential energy in the difference in height or head. Between high and low tides, there are essentially dams across the full width of a tidal estuary or the mouth of a river that has a free flowing connection to the ocean. Barrages have every high cost and worldwide shortage of viable sites and associated environmental concerns. Then we will discuss the tidal lagoons. Tidal lagoons are similar to barrage but can be constructed as self-contained structure, not extending fully across an estuary. Some suggest this may reduce both cost and overall impacts. They can be configured to generate continuously, which is not case with in case of barrage system. Then tidal energy power plant. We'll study the main parts of a power generation system. A tidal power generation system consists of three main parts. The first is barrel holding the water back during the tide, and the second part is whisked that let water through the third part. The third part consists of turbine and generator resulting in electricity generation. First, we'll discuss about tidal barrage. A tidal barrage is a dam-like structure used to capture the energy from masses of water moving in and out of the bay or river due to tidal forces. Then, sluice gate. The sluice gates are left open during the high tide and closed during the low tide to create a water level differential, creating a potential difference that powers the turbine when the water is released. Then tidal stream generator. Tidal stream generator are very similar to wind turbines except they are below the water surface instead of the above or on the land. The turbine and generator converts the movement of water coming from the tide, the kinetic energy converted into electrical energy. Next, mm, in case of barrel system, This single basin scheme is used. This scheme has one barrage and one water storage basin, one way system. The incoming tide is allowed to fill the basin through sluice ways during the tide, and the impounded water is used to generate electricity by letting the water flow from the basin to the sea through the turbines during single basin scheme. It intermittent generation power. This diagram shows the barrage. This is the barrage and this is the sluice gate. It is the enclosed basin. This is the gates of the turbine and open water is collected from here. Next, double basin scheme. In double basin scheme, there are two basins on the landward side with the powerhouse located at the interconnecting waterway between the two basins. Here is the two basin diagram. So this is basin A, basin B, two basin. This is the C, and this is the turbine. In this two basin system, we are using doubling the basin. Next, going to the part how the generation of electricity takes place. The generation of electricity from tides is very similar to hydroelectric generations, except that water is able to flow in both directions, and this must be taken into account to develop the generators. Development of the generators. The simplest generating system for tidal plants, known as EBB generating system, involves a dam known as barrage across any estuary. Next, sluice gate on the barrage allow the tidal basins to fill on the incoming high tides and to exit through the test turbine systems on the outgoing tide. This is known as EVV tides. Alternately, float generating system, which generate power from the incoming tide, are possible but are less favored than EVV generating systems. Next, we'll study what are the advantages of tidal energy. It is an inexhaustible source of energy. Tidal energy is environment friendly energy and does not produce greenhouse gas or any environmental pollutants. As 70% one of the earth surface is covered by the water, there is scope to generate this energy of large scale. We can predict the rise of the fall or tides as they follow cyclic fashion. Efficiency of tidal power is a far greater as compared to coal, solar, and wind energy. Its efficiency is around 80%. Although cost of construction of tidal power is high, but maintenance costs are very relatively low. Then these the disadvantages. Cost of construction of tidal power is very high. There are very few ideal locations for construction of plant, and they are too localized to coastal regions only. Then intensity of sea waves is unpredictable, and there can be damage to power generation units. Next, coming to the part, it influences aquatic life adversely and can disrupt migration of fish. Then, what is the disadvantages include high tidal power plant construction cost also it will, and then it has negative influence on the marine life forms. It The frozen sea, low or weak tides, straight shorelines, low tidal rise of all are some of the obstructions. The actual generation is for a short period of time. The tides only happen twice a day, so electricity electricity can be produced only for that time. Then what is the uses of tidal energy? It is used as electricity, grain mills, energy storage, and it is further provided protection to cost in high storms. These are the uses of the tidal energy. Then environmental effects. Um, study to it has a no environmental impact on the environment, but although the generator creates no noise audible to the human, they do create modest noise. Underwater manufacture maintain that is important to help marine wildlife have an awareness of the presence of the turbine. Then, what is the future tidal energy?